All right, so we're gonna go start to finish on editing your guys' headshots. Okay. So what you got to do is first download your photo off the Classroom, and then just drag it into Photoshop. When you drag it into Photoshop, this should pop up. This is called a camera raw filter. All the photos were taken as raw images. So when they pop up, it automatically opens this up and it lets you edit the photo. This is the exact same thing that you see in Lightroom. The only reason why we're not using Lightroom is because you're only editing a single photo. So you can just go ahead and just upload it into Photoshop and do the whole process there because it's just one photo. Okay. So this is the exact same as Lightroom. What we're going to want to do is go through and we're going to edit this. And because all the photos were taken at the same time in the same studio with the same lighting, you can, for the most part, pretty much follow exactly how exactly the the variables that I move here the same, and it should come out looking pretty much exactly the same. Okay, so exposure, we got to move this up probably like around 1. Okay, contrast, move this up a little bit around 13. Highlights, we're going to drop our highlights a little bit. Shadows are going to go up. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, shadows up. Whites we can leave alone. Blacks, we're going to drop our blacks. Temperature, we're going to move it a little bit to the left and make it a little bit more blue. Okay. Saturation, we're going to drop the saturation a little bit. About right there. Okay. And then we're going to go down to our tone curve. Make sure you have this one selected, the one that's colored gray or white. Make sure you're not on this one or any of the individual colors. Make sure you're on the gray one. Okay. And then you can kind of just follow this the same too. So if I move my shadows down a little, our mids down a little, our highlights, we're going to go about right there. Maybe okay. All right. So about right there is pretty good. And again, this is a little tricky to kind of get used to the first few times you do this, because if you move it just a little bit in one direction, that can really mess up the image. And you can see if I toggle this off and on, the difference that just this one tone curve made. Okay. Next, we're going to go down to our HSL slider. You can choose to have them up individually, like your hue, your saturation, your luminance. I usually just do all so I can see all three at the same time. Start with the saturation. We're going to move our reds up a little bit, our oranges up a little bit. We're going to move our yellows down. Okay. Greens, we can leave alone. We can move it just by default. We'll move it down a little bit. Aquas, we'll move it down a little bit. Our blues, we're going to move down a little bit. And then our purples and magentas, we're going to move down a little bit. Okay. When we go to our hue, we're going to move our red up, our oranges up. Okay. Our yellows, let's move them down a little bit. Okay. Blues down. And then when we get to our luminance, we're going to go reds down, orange down, yellows up, Okay. Blues, up a little bit up. Okay. And then if I toggle this slider itself, this little eyeball, that's the difference that that tab made. Okay. Our color grading, we haven't done this yet. Just briefly, what this is you have your midtones, your shadows, and your highlights. And then what you can do is you can add a little bit of color to each of those. Typically, I would just leave these alone. But for this, what we're going to do with our shadows, we're going to slightly move it towards the reds. And then what you can do is once you move it towards a color on the color wheel, you can grab this and you can move this, and it moves it and it adds that color. So this is our shadow. So I want it right at the edge of where the red, orange, yellow kind of meets. Okay. And then our highlights, we're going to drag it towards the blue, about right there. Okay. And you can see the difference if I toggle on what that does. Okay. All right. And then we're going to hit open once you're done. Okay. Let me move this. Now that you have, you went through and you color graded and you fixed the lighting and all that, now we can do some of the retouching. First thing we need to do here is crop it. Okay. So the crop is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 5th tool down. If you hover over it, it'll say, it'll be the crop tool. It's the 4th one down. If you don't see this icon, you can hold on it and then you can choose it, crop tool. Don't just start moving from the corner because it'll mess up your orientation. Okay. You want to keep that same orientation that it is straight out the camera. So hold shift and then you drag and it keeps your orientation. Okay. Portraits, following rule of thirds, what we do, eyes need to be centered across that top horizontal line. Okay. We're looking somewhere around like the upper middle chest area of the bottom of the frame. So right there, eyes centered across that top horizontal line, and then enter. Okay. So now that it's cropped and we have our headshot, we need to make a copy. So here's your layer panel, here is your photo. You're gonna click, hold, drag it into the square that has a little plus sign and then let go. And then it makes a copy, all right? And you're gonna work on this copy layer, okay? First thing we wanna do is we're going to go to our patch tool, okay? So I think it's the 8th one down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8th one down is your patch tool. If you don't see this icon, you can hold it and then scroll down till you get the patch tool. All right, what this does, if we zoom in, okay, sorry, Caesar. What we do if we zoom in is any blemishes that we see, what we can do is we can circle and then move off to somewhere where we want it to replace. And there you go, it goes away. And then you're just repeating that process throughout. You can move this out the way. You're just continually repeating that process until you get rid of all of the blemishes that you see that you don't want in the photo. And then give me a minute. This part, if you kind of get the hang of it, you can pause and do it yourself. On your photo, you can fast forward through this part too if you want. But I'm going through this pretty quickly. I'm not going to do it like perfect, just for the sake of time in the video. I'm not going to get everything, but I'm going to get a good majority of it. Okay. And already, I haven't gotten everything. But if I go and I toggle this layer that we're editing on, if I turn this off, you can see the before and the after, and you can already see how much of a difference that is, right? So for the sake of the video, let's just say this is done. I'm not done. I can still do a lot more. The next step, once you have all of your blemishes gone, is we're going to smooth his skin out a little bit. So what we want to do is grab the brush tool, which is the tool right below the patch tool. Make sure that your mode is on lighten. By default, it should probably be on normal. So we'll move it to lighten. And then your opacity needs to be somewhere around like 15 to 20, somewhere in that range, okay? And what we're gonna do with our brush is you're gonna hold Alt and you can choose the color. So like if I choose the color of his hat, you can see it turns to that color of the hat, okay? So what you wanna do is choose a part of his skin that is like more of his natural skin tone. So like maybe if I click like down here a little bit, and then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna brush. Lighten up that area. Over here you can right, any like scars that you see you can get rid of. It's a little too much.
Good morning, Orange Vista High School. Your principal, Ms. Graham. As you are walking on to first period, because yes, first period does count, please remember to have a flex session that you have signed up for. Today is Thursday. We do have flex today. We had a lot of kids in flex lunch detention on Tuesday, so let's not make that a habit. Please make sure you are signing up for your flex. I hope you have a great day, and it's supposed to be a cool one, so make sure you have your jacket on. Peace.
All right, again, before and the after, you can see a little bit of a difference, okay? And all right, last couple steps. What we need to do is we need to separate yourself from the background, okay? So how we do that is fourth tool down, which is your quick selection. You're gonna click quick selection. Make sure you go up top and then you hit this down arrow first and make sure that cloud is selected, okay? And then click select subject. What that does is it outlines yourself. Then you need to make a copy. So Control C for copy, Control V for paste. And if you look in your layer panel, you now have a layer 1, which is you, a copy of you on top of you, okay? What this allows you to do is now I can make the background a little bit more brighter, because like I said in the room, you want to normally have more than one light hitting the backdrop to make it as bright as possible. But since we only had one, we're going to fix that in here. Okay. So on this background layer, okay, you're going to go to your adjustments right here. It's the half circle where half of it is shaded in, and you're going to click brightness and contrast. And then up here in the brightness and contrast tab, you're just going to move your brightness up, and it'll move the background as bright or as dark as you want, and it won't affect you because you are on a different layer now. Okay. So we're going to make it brighter so that it's a wider background. Okay. And then we still have you on layer 1 that's not affected. Okay. We're going to go back to our background copy. Last step, background copy. Okay. And then from here, what we are doing is the third tool down is our lasso tool. And if you don't see it, again, hold it and then select lasso. You're going to outline the part of the background that is not the same color. This is only necessary for the taller people in the class where they were so tall that they were a little bit taller than the backdrop. So then after I highlight it, you're going to click Generative Fill, and then you're going to click Generate. And what it's doing is it's going to try and match that area to the background to the best of its ability. Usually it does a pretty good job of doing it, especially with all the updates that Adobe's been having lately. And there you go, right? So really what it did is it just added another layer directly on top of what we outlined, which is here, generative fill layer. So then if I hold shift and I click that generative fill layer and the background copy, I can right click and then click merge layers or control E, and it merges that layer together. And then now you're done. You have your original. This is your layer. You have, well, you could go back and merge all of this together too. So control E, merge that together. So now you have your fully edited photo and the original, and you can see the difference between the two. Okay, saving it, file. You're gonna go save as for this one, or you can go export, doesn't really matter. Save as, change it to, oh, sorry, not save as. You're gonna go save a copy, JPEG, and then name it U headshot. So Caesar headshot, and then save. And when this pops up, just hit save or hit OK. And that's it. You're done.